In this video, I'm going to continue to build on your pattern making tool set by introducing how to rotate your prints, resize your prints once they are placed within their end objects. In this case, for this project, you're going to be working with rectangles that you're placing in your PowerPoint presentation and on your artboard. When you move to project number 4, you'll be placing your prints within garments. But at the end of the day, those are all just shapes that you are filling with pattern. Okay. Now, there are a couple ways to approach rotating and resizing your prints. And by a couple, I actually mean 3. Now, over here on your toolbar, you're going to see that you have tools associated with these functions. So on your toolbar, if you come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, and long press, you'll see that you have this option for rotate. So there's one choice. And then right next to it, you have the option for scaling. And scaling is what we use for resizing. Okay. To use these tools to their most powerful effect, you need to double click them. Okay. And by double clicking them, you're going to get your menus. Okay. And you get menus for both of these. In addition, if you don't like using the tool, okay, you can make sure that your shape is selected. You can also come up to Object and Transform. And we've used these in previous videos, so you'll see that Rotate and Scale are present here. And if I choose that option for Scale, I get the exact same dialog box. Okay. And then finally, if you right-click, you'll also get that Transform menu. And again, you can choose either of those options, Rotate or Scale. Okay. Now, the first thing I want you to really consider as you're working through your prints is the scale of your print. Typically, when you shop any brand that uses prints, website or the sales floor in a store, there's going to be a variation in scale. So they're really wanting you to buy all of their prints and even wear their prints together if possible. And to wear prints together, you need a really good contrast in scale. So in this case, you may have a print that is really, really large, and then you may pair it with another print that is really, really small, okay? So let's work through that, okay? Right now, looking at these prints, I would say that these are medium to sort of largish in scale. And what I can do, again, I'll make sure one of my shapes is selected. I'll come up to Object, Transform, and I'll choose the option for Scale, and that's going to give me this dialog box. And the first thing you need to pay attention to is, what are you scaling? Are you scaling the object, which is the square, or are you scaling the pattern? Okay, and in this instance, I need to make some adjustments to my options. I'm transforming my pattern, so I'll click that on, not my object. I don't want the square itself to change size, so I'm going to turn that off. And pay attention to this when you have this option for scale, strokes, and effects. Typically, this really applies more to, say, the stroke that's on the object, which is the square here, not so much the prints, but anytime I say that, I tend to get proven wrong. So I just want to make sure you know that this is here, and if you feel like the scale of your stroke on your leaf looks different, then come back and edit this, okay? You'll see I have preview turned on so I can see what's happening as I work. And then I want you to stick to a uniform scale. Okay, uniform is going to ensure that the object in your pattern continues to look like it did in its original size. And what I tend to do here, because honestly, most of the time I don't know what size I need, I like to use the up and down arrows on my keyboard. And so I'm just going to run down until I get this to where I feel like this is more of a small scale. Okay, and so maybe I'll end at maybe a 40% uniform scale. Okay, so that might be small. On the flip side, you also can go above 100. So if your print seems small at 100% and you really want to make it larger, you can certainly run above that. Okay, and so you can take that up to 140, 150, whatever is appropriate. The only thing I want you to make sure is that you have enough repeat in your swatch that we can all understand what this is supposed to look like. So taking it up to something obnoxious like 250, where I can only see like 2 lines, does not help me understand what your print is meant to look like. And I'm running up right now, trying to give you a sense. And so, somewhere around here, this is not a good representation of your print. I really can only see one of your leaves fully, And I can't really tell and can't get like the best representation in terms of what the repeat looks like. So be mindful of that and keep it scaled to something where you can really see how everything's interacting together. Okay. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and set this to 75%. And because I have two colorways, I need to make sure these are scaled the same way. And so I'm going to come up again, transform, scale, and now I know 75 is what I need, and it actually previewed, sort of set that for me already, so 75, okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so beyond transforming, the other thing I want you to be conscious of is rotation. Now, you certainly could have rotated your icon within the print during pattern editing, but there's no need to do that because you can do it after the fact. And so again, I'm going to start with my green. I have it selected. I'm going to come up to Object, Transform, and Rotate. And again, you need to pay attention to your options first. Are you transforming the object, again, which is the big square, or are you transforming the pattern? Okay, remember we're doing the pattern, and I have preview turned on. And again, you can come in here and sort of just swivel this around, but I tend to like to highlight the number and just nudge it around until I get it where I want it. Okay. In this instance, let's say I want that at a 30% rotation, so I've got more of a diagonal effect happening. I can go ahead and hit OK. And remember, you have to apply the same thing to your other colorway because these prints should basically be the same. So I'll turn this one on, make it selected, come up to Object, Transform, Rotate. Okay, and because I'm doing these back to back, it's remembering the previous setting. And now I have my rotation set at 30 degrees in both places. So again, you can design your print through the pattern options panel. You can then come back and scale it, and you can rotate it. Nothing is ever really done when it comes to these prints. If you want to come back and make changes to them, they are all still editable.